Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I hope you can hear me well. So my name is Ieva Martinaityte, and I'm a lecturer at University of East Anglia. And I also teach at University of Cambridge and University College London. And my passion is to spread research evidence um, in organizational behavior and specifically in creativity, so we can craft more creative, productive, and healthy work experiences. So I have been researching creativity at workplace for more than 10 years. And I have founded Creativity Lab, which everyone is very welcome to visit and watch the space. And in Creativity Lab, it's my virtual space to spread evidence-based insights about how we can all create better work. So I think Matt set a very good scene already about the new tendencies and trends in the world of work. So I just wanted to remind an interesting fact that actually freelancing, we think that it's something new, but actually it's more than 30 years old. And Charles Handy coined the term. Charles Handy was a very influential and is a very influential management thinker. And he coined the term portfolio workers. So he considered for portfolio workers as those who create a portfolio of work for themselves, which is exactly what freelancers do. And as Matt already mentioned, freelancing only continues to grow. But as a work psychologist, what I'm interested in is exploring why, when you ask freelancers if they were offered a traditional job, majority of them says that they would not take it for any amount of money. So in other words, I'm very curious to understand why freelancing is so appealing. What drives us? What is motivation behind this drive? And also what challenges we should be aware when we think either pursuing freelancing careers ourselves or thinking of employing freelancers for our businesses. So I use this very well-established theory of motivation, and Richard Ryan and Edward Deci, they introduced this broad framework of motivation at work, and this is a very well research evidence-backed framework, and very globally tested by different researchers. But the idea, this is one of my favorite motivation theories, and idea is that for our effective functioning at work, 3 key needs should be satisfied. And those needs are essential, universal, and it's our nature to kind of look for the environments where we can satisfy those needs. So let me just quickly guide you through them. So one of the key essential need of human beings for our functioning, healthy functioning is job autonomy. And I argue that this is actually one of the key drivers why we are looking into this freelancing career. Because autonomy is all about this need to exercise control over one's actions and choices. And job autonomy in a corporate world or in any type of organization might be sometimes quite difficult to achieve, okay? Because the organization's function, the purpose of organization is to coordinate and to control actions of community. And, a job autonomy might kind of be in conflict sometimes with what organizations are trying to achieve. But I'm not saying that this is not possible. Of course, there are ways that jobs can be designed in any organization to have more autonomy. But I wanted to emphasize that this autonomy is like the need to experience freedom of choice and freedom in decision-making and being in control of one's life is a key need of human being. And from someone who is 2 years old to Uber driver to experienced engineer, we all have this need, right? And if in our work environment we cannot satisfy it, we look for other work environments where we can. And I think freelancing is a very good option where people can experience very high degree of autonomy. So competence is another very critical need. We want to experience success at optimally challenging tasks. We want to feel that we attain goals, and we want to experience that we are competent, that we are learning something. And this is also an important need that we are looking to satisfy in a workplace. Now, the third need is relatedness. So we might be able to feel very competent and self-effective and experience high degrees of autonomy, but also relatedness is a key need that is a need to feel connected and in mutual respect with others. So it's also an essential component of this needs triangle, which we are also looking to satisfy in our work. So now that I wanted to bring kind of awareness that in a traditional work environment, right, if those three needs are satisfied, so we feel enough freedom to choose how we work and where we work and how we do our work, we feel that we learn things, we have opportunities to achieve goals, and we have opportunities to feel connected and experience mutual respect. In those healthy environments, we can achieve more creativity and be more productive and experience high levels of job satisfaction. Now, what happens when we enter freelancing world? And I think sometimes we are not aware of those challenges. So by nature, freelancing is a solo career, right? And the access to social capital and those social relationships that we get working for an established organization or that we get working in a team, they do not longer exist in freelancing world. And we have to build those relationships. And for some of us, it would even mean building a completely new network. So now the self-determination framework would suggest, yes, you have very high degrees of autonomy, and you are very competent because you went into freelancing having lots of experience. But in a long term, your productivity and creativity and job satisfaction might sometimes suffer because this relatedness component might be missing. And of course, different individuals would be in a different situation. But I think all of us, one day or the other, at some point, we experience something like this, that the world is so connected, but we feel, instead of this feeling of satisfaction and high energy, we feel miserable. We feel very alone with our work, and there are no people around us to whom we can go and knock on their doors and ask, oh, hi, what do you think? I'm struggling with this project. So and since creativity is very much in demand, and all recent reports, though I'm following the recent reports of World Economic Forum and LinkedIn, I think it should be 2019, by the way, and Nesta in the UK launched that creativity is a critical skill and is essential to develop your competitive edge. But it's important to remember that for creativity, social input is critical, because creative process needs both the depth and breadth of knowledge and various experiences. And therefore, I wanted with this presentation to touch this topic that for sometimes it might feel very exciting to pursue freelancing career, but at the same time, it's important to aware that we have to build this social context around us. So now, and especially if we experience high job demands and we experience stressful situations, and in those situations, there is a tendency that we engage in habitual ways of doing things instead of finding some new approaches. So now, as a researcher, I simply ask a question, so what can we do? How can we, what strategies or what social activities can help us to stay connected and feed our creative process at the same time? Let me just give you a bit of a background. So it's a part of my bigger project that I'm doing. I was reviewing with my collaborator thousands of articles to understand what actions, what activities could facilitate our creative process. Okay, so today I'm presenting the social part, and I'm touching upon the social part of activities. Okay, so first of all, what do we know about, what does the research says? So whom do we seek for some social support when we are stuck, when we are frustrated, when we need some feedback? Who are those people, and what we can learn from research? So Nora Major, very well-known also a creativity researcher, conducted a study in a large auto parts manufacturing company in the US. And she was trying to better understand different types of social support. Okay, so, and I will show you later, it's different types, meaning emotional and informational support. And she was looking at 3 different sources of supports. So if you are in a corporate world, you have individuals in the primary work unit, other work-related individuals, and non-work-related individuals, right? So 3 categories. So now you can already start thinking, if you are in freelancing world, you sort of don't have who are your primary work unit and colleagues, and who are other work-related individuals who could substitute, right? But what research said, that it's actually very important to have different support groups. So some groups are better in providing you emotional support when you need it, such as individuals who know your work. Okay, so in a corporate world, it would be individuals in the primary work unit, but who can be those people who understand very well your work? So maybe entrepreneurs and freelancers who work in the same industry, but whom you trust, with whom you maybe not compete, so not direct competitors. Sorry, I'm just drinking some water because losing my voice. So in this study, Nora Major demonstrated that emotional support is, individuals who understand your work well are best at providing emotional support. Okay. Now, also other work-related individuals could help. So maybe a bit, maybe other freelancers who not directly work in your industry, but someone more distant, but who maybe experience similar problems. Okay. Now, if you need more informational support, okay, so someone who can help develop either your project or your business, right? So again, interestingly, in this study, non-work-related individuals were providing good informational support, right? So and also those who were best understanding your work. Okay, so both for creativity and for your well-being, both types of support are critical, right? Now you might want to think about what 3 different groups you have in your network, okay? Whom you can turn for emotional support, whom you can turn for some information in relationship to the ideas that you work on, or to problems that you are trying to solve, and who can be those distant individuals who could also give some emotional support. So interestingly, non-work related individuals were not at best in those 3 groups in providing emotional support, which I thought it was interesting, because I would turn to my friends and family members if I wanted to kind of share my frustrations. But it turns out that maybe someone who does not understand your work context so well maybe also does not understand well your frustrations, but they can maybe they are better at giving you new perspectives and maybe some inputs into your problem solving. Okay, so to summarize, different support groups are very important, and think about your network. Do you have someone who can provide you emotional support and someone who can provide you with informational support? Now, we all know that feedback is important for creativity and for self-development and for learning. But how much feedback is enough? What do we know? So in this area, I found a few studies and several different studies, but they all show similar pattern. So variety of feedback is important, okay? And in a corporate world, yes, you have colleagues, you have managers, customers and suppliers, family and friends. So you might want to think who can substitute. So who are your colleagues now if you are working as a freelancer? Okay. So yeah, manager, you're kind of a manager yourself, to yourself. But who can substitute, because you don't have by default those two groups. You have, how can you enhance variety of feedback? Okay, who can substitute those groups that you don't have anymore in freelancing career? Or let's say you don't have very close access or easy access. Okay, so variety of feedback is important, but there are other very interesting studies that show that time pressure matters as well. So feedback is much more beneficial if you have low time pressure. So you collect this feedback from a variety of sources, but you have time to reflect on it. So this is some study done in a large public hospital in Belgium, and I found that this is quite an interesting result, because I think we all know that feedback is important. We now know that variety of feedback is important, but I find myself also sometimes forgetting to dedicate time because of different pressures. So time to reflect on that feedback is also critical if we want to use it at the best. Okay, and finally, so we looked at that diversity of relationships matter, right? We need to look at different support groups, but what about quality of relationships? Does it matter for your creativity, right? So Carmelli and other colleagues have studied concept respectful engagement, which I found really fascinating and very well defines the quality of relationships. So respectful engagement is a relationship where we are attentive to each other, where we listen to each other and value each other's opinion. And it's if we have developed this type of relationship, that means we have this medium, like a platform, where we are not afraid to share our ideas, right? And where we can give constructive feedback, right? Support, encouragement. But also in this study, what researchers found that respectful engagement enhanced reflection in conversation versus reflection on your own. So if we have this mutual respect in a relationship, we have a tendency to share and reflect in a conversation, which facilitates our creative thinking even more. Okay, so now I'm aware of time, so just to summarize, so if you are stuck, if you are frustrated, and think about which button you need to push. Okay, do you need an emotional support? Do you need a feedback on your ideas? Do you have some information? Do you need some time to develop quality relationships? Okay, but so these are just some tips to keep in mind, that go wide and develop different support networks for emotional and for informational support, right? Have some people who work around you and whom you can reach spontaneously, so you can replicate this office accessibility to social capital. Like, can you call someone, spontaneously for lunch or invite for coffee, rather than planning ahead, right? Think whether your current network provides you with diverse perspective and it's not homogeneous, right? Try to seek feedback from a variety of sources, but also spend time to reflect on the feedback, and diversity of relationship, but also quality of relationship is also critical for your creative process, especially in a world of freelancing. So thank you very much. I'm happy to take questions, and hopefully I inspired some new insights and reflections. So please email me if you have any thoughts. Let's stay connected for a more creative work.
Thank you very much, Ieva. And yes, we have some comments and questions during your presentation. Let me check which ones. Yes, some were like statements saying some are freelancers, saying fully agree, never would change back, being being a freelancer. And then, for example, Bera, I show it here. You mentioned something. She said, I'm a freelancer for years now. Sometimes hard to connect. Need to force myself, especially when I don't have a project on a customer site. Meaning, yes, if she's Bera, I'm imagining working from home By the way, Ieva, I'm losing my voice as well. So yes, absolutely. But I think Ieva, you gave there some tips. What could she do? You know?
Yes, absolutely. So I think I am completely with you, that it's we have to force ourselves sometime, but I think and it takes effort, right? It takes a lot of effort, and I've been there. Okay, I work quite a lot from home as well because my university office is distant from where I live. So this is exactly what I do. I know the neighbors who work from home as well, right? And I know how we can have a conversation. They are doing completely different stuff from me, okay? But we can have a conversation that can inspire my work, and I can inspire their work, right? And we can go for lunch, we can go for a walk, right? I tried co-working spaces as well, and co-working spaces are great. That you can get access to very different networks. It takes effort as well to make those relationships, right?
Absolutely.
So it is about forcing yourself and making relationships, and it is hard to connect. That's why I think we have to help also each other to build those relationships.
Absolutely. Thanks, Vera, for these questions and Ieva for this comment. And yes, for example, then Nathan, he talks more from an employer side. He says like, yes, we are working with freelancers, but as well saying like sometimes hard to integrate them as they are usually short term with us. Any suggestion how to improve that?
Yeah, so I have another experience, right? So I work from a creative agency office, also sometimes as their creative in residence, right? And what I noticed that it's very important to spend this face time, even if you have those freelancers for short term, and depending on the distance, of course, of the distance. But if there is a possibility to have them once a week in the office or to engage them into some social activities, I think this, I know that we live in the world of technology. Technology is great. I am 100% for technology. But I think this face time and doing something together, physically being in the same space, I think it's critical. Even if it's like once a month, I don't know, once in 2 months, doesn't matter. But I think it's very important to spend time, build those relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Nathan, and for this question. And then, yeah, we have like Günther. Thanks for joining, by the way, again. Yes, we let me show his comments to close this. Like, fully agree for freelancers working in healthcare. Yes, we are international. Well, great breadth and depth experience healthcare industry. Yes, I know, Günther. They are exactly having like a freelance network of healthcare professionals. So thanks for. I made a little promotion now. So this was more like a comment. Yeah, I think yes, Bera and Nathan. Who else? Like, oh yes, Louise. She is writing, but I'm not sure if this is part of this one. But more than happy to close with that. What do you think? What are the best options to start to elaborate if I should start freelancing? Means a lot being my own boss. Not sure if I could do that, but who knows how long I have this job.
Yeah, I think I can take that to some extent. I can cover it. I think so. This is not necessarily related to what I was covering, but I think we think about any career as like a decision of our lifetime, and it's not anymore. And I've seen people pursuing freelancing, then going back and joining the team, then having a combination, a bit of freelancing and a bit of a part-time work working for a company. So now there are lots of different options, and I think this is wonderful. I am really excited that we can, let's say, work for 2 days for an agency, and then the rest of the time do freelancing, right? So maybe this could be an option for you, Louise. Or you can always try freelancing, and if it doesn't go well, you go back and join a team. And I've seen people doing that. I think this relatedness need, if it's very much expressed in someone, you need to put quite a lot of effort to build social context around you. so you don't feel alone in this freelancing career. But again, I think people do that because this autonomy, this feeling of freedom and being your own boss is such a big drive. It's like one of the biggest drives, I think.
Absolutely. I can personally confirm that as well, being my own boss now for years. And yeah, you see, we are already finishing this session. So thanks for your questions and comments, and especially Ieva, for your insights, for your time. And yeah, wishing you a great afternoon and stay
Yes,
connected.
thank you, Thomas. And I am happy to connect with all the listeners via LinkedIn, and we can continue our conversation.
Absolutely. More than happy. We will send the replays and all the information starting next week. So thanks again, Ieva. And
Thank
yeah,
you, Thomas.
talk to you soon. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.